Hello, everybody. Hello, Agile and Scrum enthusiasts. I'm thrilled to welcome you to a unique workshop where we will dive deep into the realms of Scrum and Agile methodologies. I'm your guide, Dan, and today I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Dado. But before we jump into the world of Scrum, let me share a little secret with you about how I teach people to step into their Scrum roles. It's not about marketing or claiming I'm the best, because I'm not. Complex learning strategies. Instead, it's about crafting a sequence, a story that naturally leads you into the heart of the Scrum experience. I hope you will see, if you stick with us until the end, that I'm trying to make it as a journey, a series of breadcrumbs guiding you towards the opportunity for agile transformation. Find more information about me, go to this web address. But this is not about me. Now, Dado is the reason we are here today. Working in a civil service, his curiosity intersected with Scrum principles. He sought an introduction to Scrum, and that sparked the idea for this workshop series. It's an invitation, a sneak peek into my approach, tailored for you. So I encourage all of you to get pen and paper and to take all the notes like crazy, okay? So without further ado, let me hand it over to Dado. He will share a bit about himself, his first encounter with Scrum, and what expectations he brings to this workshop. Hi, Dado, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me. As mentioned, here I work in the civil service, and I'm involved in the improvement of service delivery. The reform processes turn to customers these days, and the way services are delivered. And besides all the usual buzzwords like length and quality of services, what else, customer satisfaction, and other usual terms, now we hear more and more often the ideas of Agile and Scrum. But the tricky thing is that civil service is bureaucratic, So I'm here to see all the benefits of this approach and how and to what extent I can apply it in my everyday work. The allure of the Scrum framework here lies in its promise to enhance service delivery that I talked about. It has service delivery speed without compromising quality. And in my line of work, speed is essential.
Yes.
And and we also collaborate with external agencies utilizing Scrum.
Really? Oh, great.
So, So my goal is to align our practices and explore how Scrum can be applied in our administrative unique context,
Oh, wonderful. So may I ask you about your technical background?
To be honest, no real technical background here. I have been involved in a lot of projects, which is important for this, in my institution, from project ideas to project implementation, monitoring, evaluation, all parts, all phases. Some of those projects were even from the IT sector,
Excellent.
But the way those projects were implemented was in a traditional administrative public procurement way, to say so.
Yeah.
To wrap it up.
Well, it's important to know that the Scrum framework is accessible to everyone, irrespective of their technical background or academic qualifications, right?
That's great to hear, So being a non-IT guy, to say so, I'm glad that this is not just restricted to IT professionals and the way they see project implementation. And I'm glad I will be given a chance to see why there is such a thrill regarding Scrum.
Okay, thank you for this brief introduction. Now, let me outline our 3-day workshop agenda briefly, okay? So on day 1, we will start with Agile and Scrum overview. delving into my journey of adopting Scrum and its transformative impact on my work and mindset. Following this and interactive exercises will provide you with a hands-on experience, followed by reflection on the tasks completed. Day 2 is pivotal. We will explore Scrum roles, engaging in exercises to help you discover which role aligns best with your strengths. And you will also have some insightful homework to tackle. Okay? Now, day 3 is of utmost importance. With the foundational understanding of Scrum and your potential role, we'll shift our focus to a mindset, because embracing Agile for success in business will be our theme, and combined by practical examples of successful organizational transformation. So each day will feature exercises, homework assignments, and reflection to ensure continuous improvement. Okay? Now, the only requirement is that I need your undivided attention and commitment during this exercise. Okay? Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Absolutely, Dan. So I'm fully committed and I'm ready to give, as you ask from me, my, if I remember correctly, undivided attention
Yes,
to
yes,
get the most out of this learning
yes,
experience. So
exactly.
let's make the most of these sessions together.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this question. How long do you think it will take to learn the Scrum framework from A to Z? Estimating the effort and complexity of learning Scrum is a common challenge. Many students often have varying opinions. So since you are new to Scrum, I will give you a quick note. The main source of truth for Scrum is the Scrum Guide. Okay? And the latest version is only 14 pages long. And another hint, Scrum is a lightweight framework for managing complex products. It's simple to understand, but difficult to master. Okay? Now, what do you think?
Well, I'm not entirely sure how to make this estimation, but I guess it depends not only on the Scrum itself, but also on other factors such as the teaching approach and the teaching materials, you know.
Definitely.
So I'm Hannibal, I'll give it a try. Based on introduction, let's say it's about 6 out of 10, let's say.
Okay, excellent. So at this stage, there are no wrong answers. So thank you for your estimate. Now, let's consider the subjectivity and potential bias in the individual estimates. Each person might have a different perspective based on their background and experience. Now, I'd like to introduce the Fibonacci sequence and explain how it reflects the uncertainty and complexity of estimation. Fibonacci sequence goes 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 100, and so on. And those numbers help us express the varying degrees of effort more accurately. Now, I will explain all this in just a moment. Now, next, I will introduce also the planning poker game. This is the first game that we will play. Now, it's a tool that facilitates group estimation and consensus building. Now, we will use an online Scrum poker tool like Planning Poker Online. Okay, so I will turn my screen share right now. Okay, now using the cards with Fibonacci numbers, each participant, including you, Dado, will choose a card that represents your estimate of the effort and complexity of learning Scrum. Okay?
Okay.
So you can now draw the cards and choose the one from the Fibonacci sequence.
All right, I'll go with 8.
Okay, interesting choice. Now explore. Now everyone reveals their cards simultaneously, and it looks like I will choose 55.
Well, that's quite a difference. Yes. Yeah, why did you pick 55?
Well, let me explain. So, well, to master Scrum requires significant effort, more than what an 8 suggests. Let's discuss our reasoning. So Scrum is easy to understand at first glance, but truly master it involves several challenges. The first challenge is adaptation to context. Scrum intentionally leaves some aspects incomplete, urging teams to adjust to their unique situations. And this flexibility can be challenging as team needs to figure out the best ways to apply Scrum to their specific context. Okay? The second challenge is organizational change. This is my favorite. So Scrum is not just a process, it's a mindset and culture. The values and principles that we will cover in just a second of Scrum often clash with the traditional ways of working, demanding organizational change structures, policies, and behaviors to support Scrum teams and foster agility. Next challenge is technical challenges. Delivering potentially shippable increments, and we'll talk about that also in just a second, requires high quality standards and practices. Technical skills and tools like automated testing and continuous integration are essential, presenting challenges for teams without these capabilities. Next challenge is complex roles. So Scrum roles, including the product owner, Scrum Master, and developers, entail broader and deeper responsibilities compared to traditional roles. They require a mix of technical, business, communication, facilitation, leadership, and coaching skills, demanding a high level of collaboration and cross-functionality. Another is adaptability and judgment. So Scrum is an adaptive process that requires a regular inspection and adaptation. Dealing with uncertainty, complexity, and change demands skills and judgment. We must be willing to experiment, learn from failures, and make decisions based on the empirical evidence and shared understanding. These factors contribute to the complexity of mastering Scrum. Not just about following a set of processes, it's about navigating a dynamic landscape that demands continuous learning and adaptation. Since there is a significant difference between 8 you choose and my 55, now let's make another round of drawing. But this time, let's see if we can reach a consensus, okay?
I'll
turn.
trust you on
It's your
this
turn,
one.
okay?
You are an expert here. So after hearing all this, I'm going with 55 this time.
Looks like we align on 55. Now, let's discuss how we use Scrum Poker influenced let's see how Scrum Poker influenced the estimation process. How did you feel about the collaborative process?
Well, it was interesting, it was a simple input and a simple goal regarding the exercise. But I could see the point, and how this method provides a more subtle and justified view.
Yes. Now, let's compare the results of traditional estimation and Scrum Poker. So collaborative estimation has its advantages and can lead to more accurate estimates. So what do you think if this is correct?
Well, it makes sense, absolutely. So this collective input, in a way, helps balance out and adjust individual biases.
Yes, let me illustrate with a simple example to make it more clear. So imagine you are planning a road trip and you need to estimate the time it will take to reach your destination, okay? Now, traditional estimation. So if you estimate individually, you might consider only your driving speed and maybe potential traffic delays, right? And if each participant collaboratively estimates using Scrum Poker, different perspectives come into play. One person might know a shortcut, right? Another might be aware of road closures. And collectively, you get a more comprehensive view, right? Is it more
yeah. So
clear, right?
it's quite straightforward. So Scrum Poker helps us gather different insights,
Exactly.
For more accurate estimates, if I
Yes,
understand it correct.
it leverages the collective wisdom of the team, balancing out individual blind spots and leading to more informed decisions. And this is the key aspect of agile practices, promoting collaboration for better outcomes. Okay?
Yes, so the Scrum approach is like the one used by the Borg in Star Trek. I don't know if you've seen it,
yes.
I'm not sure how it goes, but it's something like by assimilating others into our collective, we are bringing them closer to perfection.
I see your logic, yes.
Yeah.
But we are not single-minded here in this process. The emphasis is on embracing different views and focusing on the well-informed conclusions reached in the team manner. Okay?
Sorry, just joking a bit,
Okay.
I understand your point here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Now that we explained the power of collaborative estimation through Scrum Poker, let's dive into the fundamentals. Okay. So our next topic is Agile and Scrum overview, where we will explore the principles and values that form the backbone of this framework. So this understanding will provide a solid foundation for the rest of our workshop, okay? And are you ready to explore the core of Agile and Scrum?
Absolutely. I see that. I see your training approach and that you're a fan of the quote, the reward for good work is more work.
Yes. Let's now start with Agile. Okay, so in a nutshell, Agile is a mindset and a set of values and principles. It's not a methodology, but a way of thinking. So what do people mean when they say they want to be more agile in the conversation? It comes to your mind when you hear go agile, be agile, or something like that.
Yes. So when someone says be agile, as you say, so I think they want to finish the work faster and not just finish the work faster, but to avoid overcomplicating.
Absolutely. And you've hit the nail on the head. So to become faster, we need to be flexible and adaptive, right? So to become fast, we need to embrace change instead of resisting it. To become flexible means having a capacity to adjust and respond quickly to new information. So imagine a team that can seamlessly pivot its approach when needed, like a well-choreographed dance that adapts to music. So embracing change is the willingness to welcome and incorporate changes to a plan as a natural and beneficial part of the process, rather than seeing change as a disruption. Taking to sailing with the wind, adjusting your sails to navigate smoothly in the ever-changing waters. So in essence, Agile encourages a mindset where change is not a roadblock, but an opportunity for improvement and innovation. Okay? Now, Agile has 4 values. So can you guess what they are? What we need to get faster? You can speak from common sense. Okay.
Well, common sense, and I believe we've covered some of those things.
Yes.
In this introduction to make a better guess. So, working together, obviously, maybe being able to change plans easily, focusing on customers, definitely, I believe, and as I said, with this, not overcomplicating things, maybe keeping things simple could be the value.
So you've got 3 out of 4. So let's break down the values of Agile Manifest. And by the way, it's very short and available for free. So write it down this address, okay? So first we have individuals and interactions over process and tools. So this emphasizes valuing people and their ability to collaborate. While process and tools are essential, Agile recognizes that the human element, the communication and collaboration between team members is paramount. Okay, so this is the first one. The second one is working solutions over comprehensive documentation. So Agile shifts the focus from extensive documentation like we have in our traditional project management, right, to delivering tangible results. While documentation is necessary, the primary measure of progress in a product is a product that works. Okay, it's about prioritizing real functional outcomes or extensive paperwork. So what we would consider as a working product in our case, it could be software, it could be hardware, it could be games, educational content, medical devices, and so on. Since you are working, as you said, in the public service, working product might include improved process or service delivery, policy or procedure changes, training modules, community engagement platforms, data dashboard or reporting tools, or maybe even emergency response plans, and I don't know, so on and so forth. And the final Agile manifesto is Scrum collaboration over contract negotiation. So what does this mean? So let me share an experience from one of my previous projects where we had a clear manifestation of the Agile values of customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So in traditional project implementations, we often encounter challenges. Contracts were meticulously crafted at the beginning, and any changes to the scope require lengthy negotiations and additional paperwork, and often resulted in increased cost and delays, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
And the rigid nature of these contracts made it challenging to accommodate evolving client needs. Now, in a Scrum framework, it was a game changer. So instead of detailing upfront contract, a detailed upfront contract, we engaged in continuous collaboration with the customer throughout the project. This means regular check-ins, feedback sessions, and the flexibility to adapt to changing requirements. As a result, we could seamlessly incorporate new features without the need for extensive negotiations. The dynamic and responsive relation fostered by Scrum allowed us to deliver a product that not only meet but exceed the client's expectations. Agile emphasis on collaboration, unlike the traditional approach, turned out to be a key factor in project success. And we have one more, yes, and that's responding to change over following a plan. So Agile acknowledges that plans may need adjustment. It's about being adaptable and responsive to changing requirements instead of rigidly adhering to the fixed plan. Agile embraced the ability to pivot and adapt in response to evolving circumstances. So collaboration, tangible outcomes, customer partnership, and adaptability are the heart of Agile. Okay?
So if I understand it correctly,
yes.
So generally speaking, Agile values practical results and customer involvement.
Excellent. Yes. Yes.
And the most interesting thing for me, coming from an administrative bureaucratic environment, is responding to change over following a plan. This is not a concept used enough in civil service, you know.
Yeah. I totally agree. And it's interesting how folks from traditional project management often find this Agile principle amusing. So how this works? In traditional projects, once we had a plan, it was like a strict rule book, right? Any changes were seen as a big problem. People didn't like to deviate from the original plan, even if it wasn't working well. And this made it hard to adapt when the things didn't go as expected. Now, in Agile projects, it's different. We understand that plans might need to change. Instead of sticking to a fixed plan, Agile allows us to be flexible. If something unexpected happens, or if we find a better way to do things, we can adjust without issues. This flexibility is super useful, especially when things are always changing. Now, being able to respond to change and without stress help us deliver better results. Now let's talk about Scrum. Scrum is the most popular way things work together using agile methods. 87% of companies that use agile choose Scrum. Okay, so although there are other methods like Lean or Kanban, stream programming, we'll be concentrating on Scrum for this challenge because it is go-to choice for most. So have you heard about Scrum so far?
Yes, I've heard about it, and I've heard it's used for project management, but that's about it.
Oh, okay, it's
But
great.
I'm not sure what the framework means,
So the term Scrum comes from the sport of rugby. Analogy in Scrum project management is that the teams bundles together to tackle and address complex challenges collectively. In a technical or organizational context, the teamwork typically refers to a structured set of guidelines, practices, and tools used to develop and organize software system or process. So Scrum is a lightweight framework, simple to understand and yet challenging to master for managing complex work. It's based on transparency, inspection, and adaptation. And we'll talk about them in just a second. Okay.
And why do you call it lightweight?
Yeah.
You use rugby and then lightweight.
Yes. Well, it's because Scrum is made to be quick and flexible. Quick and flexible, without getting stuck in too many rules or red tape. It provides a simple and yet effective structure, making it easy to understand and apply. But being simple to understand doesn't mean it's a walk in the park. It's challenging to master because it requires a shift in mindset, right? And commitment to its principles. So like in any skill, mastering Scrum takes practice, continuous learning, and dedication to improvement. It's like riding a bike, and simply in concept, but mastering balance and control takes time and effort. Don't worry, we will cover all the important things about Scrum throughout these 3 days. Okay. Now,
Okay.
3 main ideas hold up Scrum, like the strong base of building. They are transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Kind of like the rules to make sure everything works well when a team is working together. And these 3 things, we call them 3 pillars of Scrum. So transparency. So in Scrum, everything is visible. Team members share information about their work, progress, their challenges. And this openness creates a transparent environment where everyone has a clear understanding of what's happening. Then we have second pillar is inspection. So regular inspection of work progress is crucial. It involves evaluating the product and the process to identify issues and areas for improvement. By regularly assessing the work, teams can catch potential problems early and make timely adjustments. And the third pillar is adaptation. So once you inspected your work, you need to adapt. Scrum encourages teams to be flexible and responsive. If something isn't working, adapt the process. If there is a better way to achieve a goal, embrace it. Adaptation is about continuous improvement. Okay? So Scrum's lightweight nature makes it accessible, but commitment to transparency, inspection, and adaptation is what makes it powerful and effective. And while these 3 pillars of Scrum provide the structural foundation of Scrum, the Scrum values are more about the mindset and behavior that team members should embody to make Scrum successful. Okay? Now, Scrum has 5 values. So any idea what they might be?
Well, no really idea, but I can guess. Let's go to transparency again. So maybe being transparent, being organized, something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay, no worries. The 5 Scrum values are commitment. So in Scrum, commitment means that team members are dedicated to achieving their goals. They commit to delivering the agreed upon work and support each other to reach those objectives. Second one is courage. Courage is about speaking up and taking risks. Team members are encouraged to voice their opinions, share concerns, and take on the challenges, even if it means stepping outside of their comfort zones. Third one is focus. Focus is crucial for delivering value. Scrum teams prioritize tasks, concentrate on the most important work, and avoid distractions. It's about maintaining a clear vision of the goals and working towards them. Fourth one is openness. Openness is all about transparency and sharing information. Team members communicate openly, providing updates on progress, challenges, ideas, and so on. So this openness fosters trust and collaboration. Then we have respect. Respect is at the core of a Scrum. The team members respect each other's opinion, skills, and contribution to the project. It creates a positive and inclusive environment where everyone feels valued. Okay?
Okay, Dan, but yeah, it's okay. It's totally makes sense to me, and but they all seem to be a bit abstract. So how do you practically apply them? How they are, let's say, visible in day-to-day work within a Scrum team, or can you give me some examples of how they're all present and occur in real projects?
Okay. Let me give you a couple of practical examples for each of those Scrum.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say commitment. We talked about commitment. So imagine our team commits to delivering a specific set of features in a sprint. We will talk about Scrum terminology in this later in this challenge, but each
don't
team
worry,
member,
I've heard of sprints. Don't worry.
Okay, so each team members takes on tasks with understanding that they are committed to completing them by the end of the sprint. This commitment drives our collective effort and ensures everyone is aligned towards achieving our goal. Okay. Now, here is another example about courage. So in this scenario where team members identifies a potential risk to project, having the courage to speak up is crucial. It might involve bringing attention to potential issue during a sprint planning meeting or suggesting a different approach to solving a problem. The courage encourages open communication and problem solving. Okay? Then we have focus. Consider a situation where we have a tight deadline or let's say high priority task. Yes, focus means that the team avoids multitasking and concentrates on completing the most important work first. It ensures that we deliver value consistently and maintain a clear direction. Then we have, I believe, openness. Let's say we encounter unexpected changes during a sprint. Okay? Now, openness means openly discussing these challenges in our daily stand-up meetings. It involves sharing updates on progress, any impediments, and being transparent about our work. This openness allows the team to collaborate effectively and address issues promptly. And respect. In our team interactions, respect means valuing each team member's input. It could be seen as actively listening during the meetings, acknowledging diverse perspectives, and recognizing the unique skills each person brings to the table. Okay? So respect creates a positive team culture where everyone feels heard and appreciated. So does this resonate with you? Did I address your question?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Much clearer now,
Okay, so even though the second day of the workshop will be solely dedicated to the Scrum roles, and I just mentioned a couple of them, let's give Scrum some context by briefly explaining them now, just briefly. Okay, so it's at its core, Scrum has three roles: product owner, Scrum Master, and developers. And if any of these roles sounds familiar to you?
Well, I've heard, as I said before, I've heard about some terms here, but do not really know about them. So I've heard about the Scrum Master. I've heard about developers. Yeah, and I don't know about Scrum Master, but I guess developers are self-explanatory. They develop software, I believe, in this context,
Okay. So fair enough. Now let's dive a bit deeper into each role. So we have product owner. So the product owner is like the voice of the customer within the team. Their main responsibility includes managing and prioritizing the product backlog. So what is the product backlog? It's a to-do list for the team. Their main responsibility including the managing and prioritizing the to-do list. They translate high-level product requirements from stakeholders into actionable development tasks. Additionally, they are constantly learning about the customers and market's requirements to ensure the team is delivering maximum value. That's his responsibility, in short. And we have a Scrum Master. The Scrum Master plays a coaching and facilitation role. They are there to remove roadblocks that might hinder the team's progress. For example, if the team faces obstacles in obtaining necessary resources, the Scrum Master steps in and to address and resolve those issues. They also teach Scrum practices and principles to the team, ensuring everyone understands and follows the framework. Okay, because and Scrum Master ensures that official Scrum meetings, which by the way we will cover on the day 2 of the challenge, such as the sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective, happens smoothly, fostering effective collaboration and communication. And we have developers. And I want to reflect on your statement about developers' role. So you said they develop software, right?
Yeah.
When we say developers, okay, now when we say developers in the context of Scrum, we are not exclusively referring to software developers. Developers in Scrum terms are individuals responsible for delivering the product. They could be software developers, they could be designers, they could be marketers, writers, or any other professional involved in the product of the work. So it's a self-organized group of people that collaborates to bring the product to life. So it's not limited to coding. It encompasses the diverse skills needed to create a successful product. Okay, now let's talk about the magic ingredients that keep our Scrum process humming. The artifacts. That's too many terms for you, but think of these as the secret scrolls that guide us through the entire adventure. So first up, we have a product backlog, and I mentioned the product backlog a couple of times before. So imagine it as a treasure map holding all the wishes and dreams for your product. It's dynamic wish list, constantly evolving with the input from team members and stakeholders. So it's the first thing you need to remember, product backlog. Then, as we embark on a sprint journey, we have the sprint backlog. It's our tailored to-do list for the current adventure. It's filled with the tasks chosen from the product backlog. It's our roadmap for the sprint. Simple as that. Now, the real excitement comes with the increment. Increment is the tangible result of our sprint. So picture it as our treasure chest filled with the valuable features and improvements we crafted during the sprint. The increment is always in a done state, ready to be shared with the world. Okay? So these artifacts work together seamlessly, ensuring our Scrum adventure stays on course and delivers treasures at the end of each sprint. They are like the characters in our story, each playing a unique role to make the journey happy. Okay, so this breakdown should give you a clearer understanding of distinct roles within the Scrum team. But as I said earlier, we will go into details tomorrow. Any questions or thoughts so far?
Yeah, I really liked the way you defined these roles and how clear the responsibilities are for each role within the team. But how do they interact? How do these roles interact with each other during the day-to-day work?
Excellent question.
Could you tell me more about
yes,
this?
Yes. A Scrum distributes the responsibility across the team. So think of it as a well-choreographed dance. The product owner sets direction and priorities. Scrum Master ensures everyone follows the right steps and removes any stumble blocks, while developers bring their unique talents to create the masterpiece in the time-boxed iteration called sprints. This structured approach ensures everyone is on the same page, leading to efficient collaboration and successful project delivery. Okay, it was a simple example.
Yes, so as I told you before, I keep hearing about these things called sprints. It's now a famous term now. Can you tell me, yes, how they make product development better, faster?
Okay. So the team decides the duration of the sprints. But they are usually 1 to 4 weeks long. So sprints are usually 1 to 4 weeks long. Everything including meetings, development, discussions, problem solving, research, and so on happens within the sprint. And during the sprint, the team creates the new value that if the product owner decides can be easily shipped or published. Scrum, we call it potentially shippable increment. As you know, during any product development, we keep going with multiple sprints, one after another, without any breaks in between. So imagine sprint as a focused, short burst of effort, like running a relay race. These time-boxed sprints keep the team focused on specific goals. It's like a saying, let's achieve these milestones in the next 2 weeks. This is not only helps manage work in manageable chunks, but also allows for a quick feedback and adjustments. At the end of each sprint, the team delivers a potentially shippable product increment, ensuring continuous progress and maintaining a high level of quality throughout the development process.
Okay, sorry for interrupting.
Yes.
You mentioned potentially shippable. What does it mean? I haven't heard of it.
Okay.
Before.
Okay. Now, let me give you one example. Think of it like, let's say that you want to bake a cake. Potentially shippable product is like having a fully baked cake, moist, delicious, and ready to be served. Now, imagine you have this beautiful cake, but it might need some icing or decoration to make it more appealing or valuable to your guests. This cake itself is technically ready to be enjoyed, but adding those extra touches would make it even more delightful. So in Scrum, potentially shippable product is like having the core features ready, but there might be additional enhancements or refinements needed to make it truly valuable to the customer. This way, you have a product that is potentially deliverable at the end of every sprint. It's all about delivering value incrementally.
Okay, so I see now what you mean. I get it. So it's like, let me use another example, and you'll tell me if I'm right. It's like people who are not satisfied with basic versions of car, but send even new cars today to shops where they do all the upgrades, refinements. You've seen TV shows. We
Yeah,
have a lot of TV shows on that. So the
exactly.
original cars are ready to be driven, you know. But customers, they like this, as they call it, the wow effect, you know, when they see the product after refinements. So Agile and Scrum seem like different ways of approaching work than my usual way of doing things. Am I right, also?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
But to be able to do this requires a mindset shift towards collaboration, adaptation, and continuous improvement. Agile and Scrum provides a structured and yet flexible approach to navigating the complexities of modern environments. And what do you feel about this overview so far? Are you starting to sense the difference from the old way of work?
Yeah, definitely difference. I haven't worked with this mindset, as you call it, before, and it feels like opening my eyes to some new perspectives, new ideas. This emphasis also on collaboration and adaptability seems like definitely a more efficient and dynamic way of working.
Yes, and that's the essence of it. So as we go deeper into Scrum over the next few days, you will see how these principles and values manifest in the real world practices. So any questions so far?
Well, definitely. You use a lot of Scrum terms already, you know. Although
Oh,
it's a
okay,
beginning
okay,
phase, you know,
okay,
you use a lot of Scrum
okay,
terms.
okay,
It's
okay.
not easy. I'm writing it down, you know, but it's not easy to
Yes, yes.
memorize them immediately. So any source to just, what are your recommendations? Where can I find and read about those
Okay, okay.
Scrum
No,
terms?
yes, you're totally right. So let me provide you with additional resources to enhance your understanding. Okay, so right below this video, I will share two documents. Um, so the first document is comprehensive glossary of Scrum terms, where you will find detailed explanation of all the terminology we will be covering during these 3 days. Okay. The second document is the latest version of the Scrum Guide, which serves as the authoritative source of understanding the Scrum framework. It contains the definition of Scrum, explaining how each element contributes to the overall value and results done with Scrum. So let's make it fun. Okay, so consider this as your initial homework for day one. Once day one of the challenge is over, take the time to go through these documents. It will undoubtedly prepare you for more of our discussion on day two. Okay?
Okay, okay.
So we've laid the groundwork. Now, before we delve deeper, let's draw inspiration from a success story, a real world example showcasing how Scrum has transformed teams and organizations. So, with your permission, I would like to play a 6-minute video featuring FBI Sentinel project. So although it's centered around software, as you will discover in just a second, principles are universally applicable to all types of businesses. We will have a detailed discussion about this later. Now, let's watch the video.
Okay.
It all starts with the FBI Automated Case Support System, which was a system built for FBI agents in the mid-90s. And it used 1970s technologies like database and the natural programming language. And the result was that a lot of people thought it was a bad system before it ever even shipped. But it's what the FBI was able to ship at that time. This is basically, you can think of it as the CRM, customer relationship management system for criminals and crimes, right? They need a big database of all their criminals. So this is where they store their federal case if they ever make one. It became quickly apparent that the ACS system wasn't going to live up to the needs of a modern FBI force, and they needed a new system. Enter the Virtual Case File project. Virtual Case File was envisioned as a replacement for ACS that would take the ACS platform upgrade it, put a new skin on it, just make it a nicer experience and more usable, and aggregate data across all of these disparate databases that the FBI had. True to form for any government office, the FBI went out and spec'd exactly what they wanted this software to do. They spent a lot of time doing this, and then went out to contractors and said, hey, we're not a software development company, so we're going to ask you to do this. So we'd like you to bid on doing this work for us. Ultimately, the Science Applications International Corporation won the bid to develop the project, although there were a lot of other vendors that did some small pieces of it. Now, when the project kicked off, the projection was that it would be done in 3 years for the cost of $380 million. So virtual case files should have taken about that long and it cost about that much. Here's what actually happened. In 2001, coding started. Now, this was code being written by contractors, not FBI employees, although there was some project management going on back at the Hoover building where the FBI is headquartered. The project ran from 2001 to 2005, at which point it was determined that the project was so off track and things were so bad on this software development project they're going to throw away all of the artifacts they'd created thus far. Nothing is salvageable, they said. So the American taxpayer picked up that bill at a cost of $170 million. Now, it turns out that the FBI had gotten a new director back in 2001. In fact, Mr. Robert Mueller became the director of the FBI 5 days before the September 11th attacks. And with the fits and starts of the virtual case file system, Mr. Mueller had to go before Congress several times to ask for money to refund the virtual case file project. This was a notorious software project that was being monitored all over the world. It appeared in CIO magazine on the front cover. We all knew this was going on. And Mr. Mueller would have to go to Congress and say, this software project is still off the rails. And in fact, he had to do that 3 times. In January 2005, it was clear that we were not going to get any value out of this system. So Mr. Mueller's in the position of doing what so many other executives have to do with failed IT projects, and that is simply start over. So that's what he did. He went back to Congress, received approval for a new project. This one totally different because it's called FBI Sentinel instead of the virtual case file system. Totally different, right? And that means that what they were going to do clearly was go about creating the software differently. Well, not so much. In 2006, Lockheed Martin again won a contract to fulfill a bunch of specifications that the FBI had created. And this plan that Lockheed Martin now proposed called for 4 phases of deployment of this new system at a cost of $450 million over 6 years. Now, the big difference between the 2006 awarding of the contract to contractors versus the 2001 awarding of the contract to contractors was this. Mr. Mueller was really, really positive that this time a plan-driven waterfall type approach to the problem would work. Well, what actually happened is that by 2010, only 1.5 of the 4 phases had been done. Almost all of the money had been spent, and 2/3 of their time was gone. At this point, an outside firm named MITRE was asked to come in and perform an audit on the work that was happening on the Sentinel project. And here's what they found, that it would take another $351 million in 6 years to complete the project. So Mr. Mueller knew that he was going to have to go back to Congress and ask for money again. So we had this IT project in the early 2000s, that didn't work, and now we've got the same one essentially still running in the late 2000s, that's still not working, give me some more money. It just really didn't add up, and he knew that this wasn't going to go well on Capitol Hill. So what did he do about it? Well, he went and he hired some people from the civilian sector. In other words, he went out to industry and he hired 2 agilists from Lehman Brothers, Jeff Johnson and Chad Fulgham. Chad Fulgham as CIO and Jeff Johnson as CTO on the Sentinel project. Well, what Mr. Johnson did after taking the reins of Sentinel was to cancel the outsourcing contract with vendors like Lockheed Martin and pull all development back to the FBI. So they went out and hired a development team. They built what they called a Scrum studio in the basement of the Hoover building, which really was a focused team room where software developers created the Sentinel program. What happened next stunned a lot of people. With only 40 developers instead of the original 400 that Lockheed Martin had on the project, the software was deemed complete in a little over a year, and only $30 million had been spent. Remember that the original budget was for $450 million. Finally, in May of 2012, the field tests passed, showing that, in fact, Sentinel was ready to go. They still couldn't go live, however, because they were waiting on proprietary hardware to ship. Finally, in August of 2012, Jeff Johnson did a public demonstration of Sentinel in production.
Okay, welcome back. So what's your impression on this case study?
That was quite impressive, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
So it's kind of like transitioning from a traditional plan-driven waterfall approach to agile Scrum to projects. Agile Scrum made a substantial impact, especially in that Lockheed Martin and FBI Sentinel project cases. And now I'm curious about the shift from outsourcing to bringing development in-house. How did that change contribute to the success of the Scrum implementation?
Okay, so as we have witnessed, they did an amazing amount of work with fewer people by bringing development in-house with co-located cross-functional teams, as Scrum prescribes, streamlined communication and collaboration. So instead of 400 developers working in silos, in just 40 FBI developers working closely together facilitate better teamwork, faster decision-making, and improved adaptability to changing requirements. This shift played a crucial role in the project success. So, as you can see, the FBA Sentinel project is an excellent case study showing Scrum's ability to take a failing waterfall project, turn it into success by leveraging Scrum's empirical process, self-organizing teams, and first focus on business value. This example demonstrates the advantages the Scrum framework can offer over traditional plan-based approaches. Okay?
Yeah, that was really impressive,
Yeah.
So, and with Scrum, they managed to let's say, accomplish every company owner's dream, to do more with less, and to improve teamwork and decision making. So it's fascinating, really, how a change in approach can make such a big difference.
Yeah, it was amazing too when I first saw this case study. So before we continue with the Scrum exploration, let me share a story about how I got into Scrum. It's like a journey that changed how I work and think right now. Okay.
Okay.
So it all started, I think, more than 10 years ago when I attended a seminar and accidentally entered the room with the topics related to Agile. So a man was standing talking about Scrum, explaining concepts such as teams organizing themselves, quick feedback, constant drive for improvement, and so on and so forth. That got me thinking. In my work, we adhered to outdated practices that waited until the end to check if the things were going well, only to find out they were not. Okay, so I felt there had to be a better way, even before the seminar. That night after the seminar, I couldn't sleep. So we had worked on several projects using a waterfall model. Some were left incomplete. Other extended both the time and the budget. We found ourselves compromising on quality, leading to people leaving the company because of the challenges. So after attending that seminar, I became interested in Scrum. want to find out more. I wished I had discovered this 3-day Scrum challenge back then. Unfortunately, I started reading books about it, attended courses, got certified, and learned a lot. Scrum wasn't just a process. It was, as I said a couple of times, it was a way of thinking that encourages change, taking responsibility, and continuous learning. Then, the idea crossed my mind. What if I introduce Scrum to my team? I have to tell you, this was not easy. Since I didn't have the exact blueprint, so I faced many challenges when I introduced Scrum to my team. Some didn't like the meetings. Why do we need to meet meetings so often? Bosses were sure about giving more freedom to the team. They wanted to keep decision-making process in their hands. Okay? But things started getting better. We started to deliver things faster. The team felt happier and more creative. The customer liked giving feedback on what we made, at least some of them. But for me, Scrum became not just a way of working, but a mindset. A way of always checking the improving things. My why with Scrum was clear. I wanted to make things and teams that could do well in tricky situations by learning and working together. Even when things were tough, knowing my why helped me keep going. So changing to Scrum meant being persistent, brave, and having the clear idea of how things could be different. It involved thinking a lot, getting feedback, and helping my team understand. And after 3 years, Scrum is now work. And it's not just about making products, it's about creating a place where people can learn, take risks, and enjoy working together. That's why I really love Scrum, and I always will.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yes.
So it is really inspiring to hear from you, how Scrum transformed your work, And I'm curious about one thing. So when you started introducing Scrum to your team, what types of resistance did you face? And how long did the resistance last? Because I believe that you managed to solve that, in the end.
Well, as I already said, it wasn't as smooth sailing. Some team members were comfortable with the changes. Some weren't. I often say, why would we allow them to change their ideas? Some of them didn't like the Scrum meetings, for example, as they felt like an interruption to their routine. What I found helpful was explaining the why behind each Scrum practice. Once the team understood the benefits, like a quicker feedback and improved collaboration, they become more open to it. However, I had to address each concern one by one. And if you are only doing this alone, it can take a while, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can imagine change is not always welcomed right away. I can imagine it, and I know it from my everyday experience. And how did you deal with challenges and resistance?
Well, handling challenges required a mix of skills, communication, and patience. I kept an open line for feedback, actively listening to concerns and addressing them collaboratively. It was crucial to show the positive outcomes of Scrum through tangible results, like faster deliveries, happier clients. Changing take time, and patience is the key.
Yeah, I know, and I see that. But how did you manage to give the team more freedom while still keeping things organized? It's totally different way of doing things. I'm asking because balancing autonomy and avoiding chaos can be tricky for managers who actually might hesitate to delegate more authority, you know.
Understand. Well, finding the right balance was tough. With Scrum, there's a framework, and yet it promotes self-organization. And I discovered that setting a clear goals and expectations while letting the team decide how to meet them offered a structure without limiting creativity. It's about establishing boundaries for the team to work within.
Yeah, so, but you also mentioned the continuous improvement, continuous collaboration, and how did you ensure continuous improvement in all those your Scrum practices?
Uh, it's a great point, and I see you are actively listening to what I have to say. So continuous improvement is a fundamental aspect of Scrum. Now let me explain what continuous improvement is in Scrum, okay? It means always looking for ways to do things better. It's like a team saying, okay, we did this project and it went well. How we can make it even better next time? It's a cycle of learning and making a small adjustment after each task or a project, aiming to improve a little bit each time, okay? So in Scrum, we foster a culture of openness and collaboration, encouraging everyone to actively participate in Scrum meetings. This means reflecting on what worked well and what could be enhanced, and then collectively deciding on changes for the next sprint. It's this iterative feedback loop that fuels our continuous improvement journey. So I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for sharing. So, you know, after all those introductory explanations and the terms, so as we go on, I get a clearer picture of how Scrum works in a real-world setting. Thank you for that.
Oh, don't thank me. You're welcome. Don't hesitate to ask more questions as we dive deeper into Scrum. It's all about learning and adapting together, step by step. Okay. Now let's take this understanding and explore a real-world scenario in a small exercise. Here is how this exercise will work. And I will present the scenario. I will put it on the screen. And we will discuss together how Scrum could improve this situation with the knowledge you've gained so far. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So imagine a team working on a software project. They follow a plan-driven approach. Have you ever heard about the plan-driven approach before?
Yeah, that's what I do daily, you know.
But for those who are watching, let me briefly explain. A plan-driven approach refers to a project management methodology which the entire project is planned comprehensively at the beginning. The execution strictly follows a predefined plan. Okay? So let me bring up the image on the screen. It's often associated with a linear or a sequential process, like the waterfall model, where each phase of the project must be completed before moving on to the next. So in the plan-driven approach, changes to the plan are typically minimized once it's established and the project progresses according to the predetermined schedule and requirements. Is it clear now?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on. So this specific project also involves developing a software for a client with a specific requirements. Okay, so the team has a fixed scope and budget, a detailed project plan, and strict deadlines. Okay, now I encourage you to take notes while I'm presenting this example. Okay. So the project is estimated to take 6 months to complete. Write it down, 6 months. So, however, during the development phase, unexpected changes occur. The client realizes the need for additional features, that were not initially outlined in the project plan. I think we have all experienced such situations, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So in this traditional approach, this scenario would likely lead to changes. Fixed scope, budget, and detailed project plan may not easily accommodate these new requirements. The project manager would need to evaluate the impact on the timeline and budget, possibly causing delays and increased costs, right? And each team member has their assigned tasks, and progress is tracked based on the original plan. Okay? Now, however, this sudden change might disrupt the established workflow, the whole workflow, leading to confusion and potential inefficiencies. So the team has limited interaction with the client during the development process. They gather all client requirements at the beginning and provide updates only at the major milestones, given the evolving nature of the client's needs. This lack of continuous collaboration might result in misalignments between the delivered product and client's expectations. Both testing. Testing is conducted after the development phase is complete. The client provides feedback only at the end of the project when they see the final product. With the additional of new features, feedback delayed until the end may lead to substantial revisions, potentially requiring rework on a significant portion of the project. The team follows hierarchical structure with the project manager assigning tasks to team members. Decisions are made by the top management. There are minimal collaboration among these team members. So in the face of changing requirements, the hierarchical structure may slow down the decision-making process, making it challenging to quickly adapt to clients' needs and deliver value promptly. And furthermore, client satisfaction after the project is over could be compromised, and it definitely will in most of the cases, because the delaying delivery and potential misalignment with the client's evolving expectation may result in a product that no longer meets the market demands or the client's current needs, leading to decreased satisfaction or even the decision to abandon the product altogether. And I have experienced all of it. Hope you are not. This emphasizes the importance of continuous adaptation and collaboration in responding to dynamic market condition and client expectations. Are you following me so far?
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm following you.
Okay, and this is just a basic scenario. And I would like to encourage you to discuss three things. It doesn't matter that you are not familiar and that you're not coming from IT background. It doesn't matter that you have not mastered Scrum yet. We'll just discuss with the common sense, okay? So the first thing I want to discuss with you is encourage you to identify potential issues from this scenario. So what challenges do you foresee in this traditional approach? So think about communication, adaptability, and client satisfaction.
Okay, well, one challenge that comes to my mind is the lack of flexibility. Okay. You know, when the new requirements emerge during the project. The initial fixed scope and the detailed plan may make it difficult to incorporate these changes smoothly.
Absolutely, that's a valid point. And another potential issue could be the delayed client feedback. In this traditional model, the client provides input only at the end, which might result in misalignments with their evolving expectations. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. So when the clients give feedback only at the end, you know, it can be a problem. the final product might not match their current needs or what the market wants.
Yes.
So also it limits the chance for the client to give input and make changes during the development itself. So this lack of ongoing collaboration could mean the product while meeting the original requirements might not meet the client's changing expectations as we expect them to happen, you know.
Precisely. So do you see how Scrum makes sense? Just speaking from the common sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now let's move on to the second point of discussion, which are bottlenecks. So where do you see potential bottlenecks or points of slowdown in this traditional project management approach? So consider aspects like, let's say, decision-making or say task management or communication or late stage testing. So what comes to your mind?
Well, there are definitely several issues with our current approach, you know. So firstly, with fixed scope and detailed plan, unexpected changes can cause delays in development, you know, and those unexpected changes do happen,
Yes.
and then the team might struggle to adjust within the planned strict time frame, you know, that we have. So on the secondly, so our hierarchical structure slows decision making, you know. So going through layers for decisions hinders quick responses, you know, and especially for urgent issues that might occur. And lastly, waiting until the project ends for client feedback is quite risky, you know. If there are misunderstandings between us, you know, it could mean major rework, you know, causing delays and possible dissatisfaction with all the project, you know.
Sorry. Excellent insights, Dado. Your observations highlight some usual critical bottlenecks in this traditional project management approach. Add to your point, I'm sorry, another potential bottleneck could be the sequential nature of tasks, where testing is conducted only after the development phase is complete. And this could lead to identification of issues late in the process, making it more challenging and time-consuming to address, right?
Right.
Now, let's move on to our third point of discussion, opportunities for improvement. Okay, so where do you see opportunities for making positive changes in this scenario, considering Scrum principles that we covered so far? So think about ways to enhance client collaboration, improved adaptability, changes, or foster better communication with the team. What are your thoughts?
Well, then, thinking about improving this scenario, as I said before, one opportunity I see is to actually involve the client more throughout the development process. So instead of gathering all requirements at the beginning and providing updates only at major milestones, you know, having more frequent interactions could ensure that the client's evolving needs are better understood and even addressed. So, and another potential improvement could be introducing more collaboration within the team itself. So in the current structure, decisions are made by the top management, and there's minimal collaboration among team members. So creating this more collaborative environment where team members are empowered to contribute ideas and feedback could lead to more innovative solutions and also to a sense of shared ownership, you know.
Now, those are fantastic observations, Dad. So in Scrum framework, we emphasize not just client collaboration, but also continuous feedback loops. Regularly seeking feedback from the client, even on small increments of the product, helps in the early identification of any misalignments or allows for quick adjustments. Additionally, Scrum encourages the concept of self-organizing team, where each member actively contributes to the decision-making. This empowerment fosters creativity and efficiency within the team. Now, building on improvements you've already highlighted, can we explore additional opportunities for enhancement? Giving your understanding, what other changes or practices do you think could make a significant difference in aspects like flexibility, client satisfaction, and adaptability?
I'm not really sure now.
Anything that comes to your mind as your reflect on what we have just discussed.
Well, I really believe that involving the client more frequently throughout the development process is the key here. And this way we can ensure that their expectations align with the evolving product. So also having more open communication channels within the team might foster quicker problem solving and collaboration. So, and I think also one other thing, I think breaking down the project into smaller manageable tasks with regular feedback loops could increase also our adaptability to changes.
Voila, voila, congratulations. So you've captured key elements of Scrum philosophy. So regular client involvement, open communication, and I think you said something like iterative development. Okay, so by incorporating these principles, we can indeed enhance adaptability, collaboration, and client satisfaction. And these ideas align perfectly with Agile and Scrum principles we are going to delve into future, okay, further. So feel free to ask any questions that comes to your mind. It's through these questions and discussions that we can truly explore the potential of Agile and Scrum in transforming how we work. Okay, great job. And now, are you ready for some homework?
If you say so, yes.
So your first task is to download the document, as I explained earlier, to the latest Scrum guide and Scrum glossary terms. So go through these documents and read them. And it's important to do this the first part of the homework because combining insights you gained from the day one, this workshop with the main Scrum documents will make this journey go more smoothly, okay? And I want you to succeed by getting a real taste of Scrum in this workshop. And I generally want to help you. And to do that, you need to complete the task. It's only 15 to 16 pages for both documents. And you have 1 day to finish this before day 2 begins, okay?
Of course, yeah. I would be glad to both download and learn this.
Excellent. Now, the second part of the homework. So as we conclude day 1 of our Agile and Scrum workshop, I would like to invite you to reflect on your personal and professional motivations for embracing Scrum. And understanding your why is a crucial step in navigating the challenges and opportunities that comes with adopting Agile practice. So take time to ponder and articulate your motivations for wanting to embrace Scrum, combining both personal and professional perspectives. Consider aspects such as your career goals, experience with the traditional project management and the importance you envision Scrum having on both your personal and professional life. And write down your thoughts, feelings, and aspirations related to integrating Scrum into your work and mindset. And reflect on how adopting Scrum aligns with your overall objectives and objectives of your team or organization. Think about the challenges you are faced in your current work environment, how Scrum might address or mitigate those challenges. Identify specific goals, both personal and professional, that you believe Scrum can help you achieve. Your task is to join our Facebook group, and you will see the link on the screen. And you will find the link also in the description of this video. And upload the document with your reflection. Okay? And the easiest way to do this is by summarizing your personal and professional whys for embracing Scrum. Like I've shared mine, right? So consider it as a personal commitment statement outlining what you hope to achieve through this agile journey. Please be courageous and shape your thoughts freely. This is a safe environment and no one is going to judge you. Tomorrow, we'll start by discussing your insights from your homework, okay?
Yeah, of course. And thank you for this engaging day, to say so. I really felt Scrum's potential firsthand from you.
Thank you for joining the workshop. Let's meet tomorrow on day 2. Same place, same time. I have to tell you, I really think that you will enjoy all 3 days of our workshop. But day 2 is amazing. It's impactful, it's engaging, it's entertaining, and you will learn a lot. You will definitely don't want to miss it. We will delve into the various roles in Scrum, and I will help you discover which Scrum role best aligns with your personal characteristics. It will be engaging and fun. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
Definitely, Dan. See you.
And that's a wrap up for day 1, folks. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please share the link to this webinar with your friends and colleagues. It might change their way they operate their business.
Bye.